Hey, this is Izzy. Just gonna take a quick moment here to run you through IK settings on Hercs. I've already got this one set up, so I'm gonna go ahead and just reset everything. Delete. Oh, I deleted part of it. Control Z. I'm gonna delete these dummy controllers and stuff out of here. They don't need to be there anyway. So you've put a new Herc in the game, and you're wanting to get the legs to where they articulate correctly. First thing you want to do is get your scenes all set up here. I've got them all set up pretty good. You know, I can see everything going on. Tell you what I'm going to do just for purposes of clarity is I'm going to just select my legs. So I got my left calf, my left foot, my left leg. I've got my right calf, my right foot, my right leg. I'm going to select those and I'm going to hide everything else. I'm going to go up here to the tab and I'm just going to hide the unselected. So all I got here is my legs. That's all I really want. So first thing I'm going to do, anytime you upload a Herc into a game, you want to make sure your pivots are not messed up. That'll cause you to have what I call gimbal lock, and it'll lock the legs up when they try to move. They have to all be pretty much set the same from what I understand. And of course, you know, I learned most of this the hard way just by trial and error. So I'm going to go over here and hit Affect Pivots Only, and we can see here the pivots are all kind of going every which way, and I've already set these pivots up in the different positions they're in, but I'm going to reset them all. I'm going to reset all pivots, okay, and I'm going to center them to the objects, okay. So that's what we want to do first, is get all of the pivots centered to the objects. And it just takes a few seconds to get those moved in the right place, so it's really not that big a deal. One thing we can do here is we'll just go ahead and get started. It's pretty simple. Like I said, you want to make sure you got your views set right, left here. We're going to start with a leg. We're going to get that in the right spot. So we're going to go up here. We got the blue Z up, so we're going to go over here on the Z axis. And we're just going to move that up here a little bit. I'll do it over here again. Move this pivot up a little bit. And I'd say right there in the middle of that triangle is probably about the spot I need to be. So we'll move that over on the Y. Okay. Move that over here on the Y axis. We'll put her about right there. We'll go up here and check the top viewport just to make sure we're kind of in the right spot here as far as the center of the leg. And if you need to, you can hide everything else while you do each one of the the legs and stuff. And as you can see here, this on the front viewport here, we've got this about right. It's about right center, and it'll rotate, articulate with this with the hip there. So that'll be okay for now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do this one, and we're going to try to bring that up here on the front here. We can see that, and we'll go ahead. No, we're definitely going to have to bring this over. So we're going to bring it over probably on an x-axis. So we'll just bring now. I'll take that back. We're going to bring that right back. I'm looking at the front viewport now. We're going to have to bring that up. And I know this is annoying. It's very annoying. It's annoying to me too, but we got to do it. I'm looking now in the left viewport. I'm going to bring it up on a z-axis. I'm going to put it, well, see, it's all different. So put it there. And I'm going to bring it up on the z-axis and put it about right in here. How does that look on the top? It looks pretty good. It's in the center. Okay, so you want to get it as close to the pivot point of where this leg and this leg would pivot together. Okay, now these two down here, since it has 2 feet, they are going to actually go pretty much dead center right on top of each other. So we can see right here in our left viewport here. So what we're going to have to do here is we can see Y is up, so we're going to use we're going to put this back in the center of the foot. I'm looking at the front viewport right now, and we're going to bring this over to the dead center right there. And that should pivot just fine. And then we're going to select the other foot and put it in the exact same spot. So okay, so we got this one in the right spot. Well, I take it back. that foot is one object, so it's 1 foot, so we're okay. So we got it in the middle, and so the next thing we want to do is go ahead and set up our locks. I'm not going to do the other leg right now. I'm just going to show you this one particular leg. So we'll go ahead and do our locks. We go over here to the link info next, and we do not want this leg to move at all. So we're going to lock them all movement. Only thing it will be doing is rotating, and it's going to rotate on the x-axis. That's going to be straightforward. We'll go ahead and leave the y out. Take away move, leave the x, no scale factors, don't need them. Let me go ahead and take them out of this one too. Take out the scale, okay. And then we're going to go down to the foot. Now, the Starsiege Hercs do have a little bit of a y-axis on the foot. You can do that if you want. You don't have to, but if you get to the situation where your foot locked up and it doesn't have any, and you can't figure it out, just come back in here and take this y off and give it an xy. We don't want any scale, but give it an xy rotation, and then you can you can go over here into your IK controllers, and you can actually go down and set up an y-axis here active. So you want to be active and limited. That makes it limited to 2020. So that means it can only move a little bit. You see that? See that moving a little bit? That's all it can move. Sometimes that'll keep your foot from locking up, but I'm gonna go ahead and just turn it off, because I usually don't have that little bit of a foot on. So I'm gonna turn it off for right now. So right now, only thing that foot will do is rotate because it's locked. So the precedence. Okay, now let's go to the precedence now before we go into the actual rotational joints. The precedence of the foot is 40, okay? And then, because that is the first thing that moves when the dummy controller operates. You want to bind the orientation, you want to bind the position, you want to make it a terminator, and you can make this weight whatever you want. I like to use 20 because I like the foot to be heavy. And I mean, it walks better when it's a little heavier. So after you do that, you go to the calf, and the precedence of the calf is 30, and the precedence of the leg is 20, okay? So that's all there is there. So, okay, so, and that would go for both feet. You can actually copy the rotational joints of these particular items. If you go to right there, copy rotational joints and paste, you can paste them on the other foot or the other leg or whatever. You can copy and paste over there. So what we're going to do now is set up the rotational joints, and I'll show you how that works. You can go down here, and we want this to move on the x-axis, because up here we just locked everything but the x-rotate axis. So on these rotational joints, what we want to do here is I would recommend that you reset these to 0, because what's going to happen is if you don't, you may get gimbal lock if you don't go into a negative state. This has to be a negative number, and this has to be a positive number. And it took me a while to figure that out. So what you want to do is just grab this arrow down and pull your mouse towards you, and you will see your leg move, okay? So when you go negative, it's going to pull back. So you want to take it to the extreme of where you think your leg should go. And I try to think about my leg and how my leg would probably move if I was, my leg, well, of course I'm not that flexible, but so anyway, negative 58 is about right. So over here, we're going to go up. We're going to push away from us with the mouse, and we're going to go up. And I'd say a Herc's leg would probably be about right there. So we're looking at negative 58 to 134. Limited means these numbers will take effect. Active, limited. I'm not really sure about ease. I don't ever use it. So we're going to go into this one. We're going to go down here to this calf now, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to zero out these. 0, 0. And we're going to pull back towards us with the mouse. Okay, a leg can't really go back no further than that. It would look ridiculous unless your vehicle does that. So then we're going to see what we're going to push away from us and come up. And the Herc, that leg shouldn't go through the other leg, okay? So we're going to leave it at that. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to go to the foot, and we are going to do the exact same thing. And we're going to zero everything out. 0, 0. We're going to select our foot again, and we are going to pull back towards us on the negative, and that's about as much as I want that foot to turn on the negative. And we are going to push away from us for the positive, and that's about all that foot should probably do. And if you do decide to use the y-axis, you're going to want very little movement on the left to right. So you just click on active and limited, and you'll be able to move that a little bit there. 20/20 is usually what I use if I do that. Sometimes if the foot locks up, I'll use 20/20 on that. So now we have everything set up for the leg, okay? We need to add some controllers. And if you're trying to do this from scratch, you're not using the script, you're going to want to set up your controllers. So what each part of this leg is going to need is a rotational controller. And it's not really that hard to do. You just, let's see here, you're going to have to go over here to the bicycle. And see where this says rotation? You want to select each part here, each leg, each part of the leg, and you want to add a rotational controller. So rotation, rotation, rotation. The script does this. If you're using the script automatically, you don't have to use it. And what you want to do is linear, linear, Bezier right here. Linear, linear, Bezier. That means it's going to go straight on. And Bezier means it can move forward. It can move forward, back, side to side. That's on the scale. We don't care really about that because we're only using the position and the rotation anyway. So this right here is linear, linear, Bezier. So that's going forward. So these three parts are set up like that. So when you get this side set up, you can go over here and you can select your leg. You can rotate it around a little bit, and you can copy your joints. So all we got to do now is just select this, and we go to rotational joints, copy. We select the other side. We put paste. So we paste that over there. Then we select the calf. We copy. We select this side. We put paste. We select the foot. We hit copy on the rotational joints, and we hit paste. Okay, so we just copied and pasted all of our keys and stuff over to the other leg, and we'll give that a quick go for it. Look at it real quick here. Let me get a good look at it, see if everything's cool. We got to set our precedence back up. We have to do that, but as you can see, the rotational joints are exactly the same. So this leg should have the exact same as this, and it does, because we copied and pasted those over there, which is good. Now you may have to come in. Nope, even the got to make sure it doesn't have a move. Everything's set up pretty much right. I'm going to do that, and then we don't want these to move on the x-axis at all. So everything's pretty much set up right for the other side now, because we copy and pasted that over there. So when we move our legs, let's take a minute and look at that. When we move our legs, they are going to be able to rotate on the x-axis, but that's going to be about it. And we are going to see them when we add a dummy controller. The dummy controller is going to be able to move these like a puppet. They're all going to move like a puppet, and that's exactly what they're supposed to do. And all these are moving good. Looks like they're good. And this other side too, you know, it's going to move like a puppet as well. Should have the exact same parameters as this. Well, we didn't reset the pivots over here. See that? We should have put the pivots where they're supposed to go, but we didn't. This is just for sake of time. We're just going to do this one side right here. But as you can see with the pivot set and everything like that, everything's good. And I'm trying to figure out if I'm missing anything. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to leave this video without telling you everything. That's pretty much it. You just want to leave the x-axis on rotate, and everything pulls forward. So as you can see, you know, this is all linked together and it's all pulling forward. And that's about it. You can add your dummies or use the script that I wrote. If it's you can use the script that I wrote, and you can move this thing, and it will inherit the correct animations. And that's about it. That's about it. And if you get in a situation to where this is gimbal locked, where it won't move when the dummies try to pull it, or when the dummies are operating, or if it walks funny, what you need to do is take a look at your go ahead and look at the part that's locking up, and make sure that your restraints are, you know, give it enough room to where it can actually walk. Like if you stop it right here, well, it might have a weird stride. So you want to make sure you give it enough room to where it can actually walk, but not enough that it looks silly, or that sometimes this thing will go back too far, and it'll, instead of it coming back when the dummy comes back, it pushes this part up, the upper leg, and that causes it to malfunction. So you want to make sure that you're actually using realistic, realistic lock settings, and that's about it. That's about it. Like I said, if you get a gimbal lock, you check these. Sometimes you can take this one off and add just a little bit of a sway to it, and it'll be fine, but usually I don't. Make sure you check these right here. Check these rotational joints, and check them. Make sure all you do is click on them, and you can see, look here, see that one? That one's right, that should be fine. This one here, that one's good. That one's good. If I took it up inside of the other one, that would look completely unrealistic. Make sure your feet have precedence. Make sure your legs have precedence. Make sure the orientation, the terminator, all this is bound. Make sure you have weight on both. I'm sorry, right there I didn't. So I got 20 on the position and 20 on the orientation. And you can change that around, play with that, and make the feet act different. Like if this was two separate feet, they would fall when I picked it. When one might be heavier than the other, it might fall differently than the other when you raise it. So, but yeah, it's that is the number one cause of this locking up, would be these right here. And what happens is you get your pivot turned the wrong way, or your pivot will mess up and the y-axis will turn, or the x-axis will turn, and this thing, instead of rotating forward smoothly, what will happen is it'll want to turn, and it can't turn because it's locked. So if that's a situation, then you're going to have to reset your pivot, reset it to the object, to the center, and then readjust your pivot to get it to not lock up. That's about it for IK controllers. I hope that helped. Appreciate it.